You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
And we are back after I don't know how many weeks. We're back to Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast that has a lot of people in the studio right now. And I'm sitting right here with my good friend, Andrew Schulte. Andrew?
Hey there.
Hello.
Good to be here.
And then on
You
the
sound
other...
pumped, Andrew. You're happy.
This is probably the most pumped I've ever been.
Hold on, before we get the show started, Sam, doesn't Paco look like the Mexican Jesse James, West Coast chopper with that beanie on?
Definitely.
Listen up, brother.
We got excited, Andrew, and we got the Mexican Jesse James, the motorcycle rider. Who else you got, Paco?
Then
Hold on. He looks like Hulk Hogan after the porn video got released.
Let me do the introductions real quick. We also have...
Hold on. We should really start this all over again. For taking a break and coming back, that's what we get, Paco.
All right.
Bring the heat, dude. Come on.
Let's do this.
damn
Let's
it.
do this again. All right, let's start over.
Yeah.
Yeah, just reset the clock.
And welcome to Maximum Driftcast, brother. I'm right here with Andrew Schulte.
Woo! Super excited to be here.
That's right, brother.
What are you doing? You sound really constipated. Are you okay?
Hold on, let me introduce to my other side. I have Josh
Rinse it off, Paco.
Ruiz.
Come on, man.
Hey there, guys. there you go.
Hold on. Why do I just have a green screen behind me?
And Chris Soehren.
Hi.
Oh, there you go.
Very good.
You know what I imagine right now? I just imagine these guys. They're about ready to enter the wrestling ring in little Speedos with their tits out, just ready to wrestle each other. And just that introduction really woken things up. I appreciate that, guys.
Well, before we continue, Corey's obviously in this Skrillex-themed blue studio. It's very beautiful.
sorry.
I'm just in a big green void. I like the style of it, I think. Can we put me in somewhere nice?
We can work on it in a second, sure.
All right, cool.
While you guys do the honors, Sam. I'm going to the controlium.
We obviously have a very special show here with a bunch of our hometown Phoenix bros, and we're going to talk all about Desert Meihan, I believe is how it's pronounced. But we obviously were AWOL for Sama and beyond because, as everyone knows, after an FD season and a Sama, need a little baby break as we took. But we're back. Of course, some housekeeping during the holidays. We're going to try to bring you shows every week as usual, but obviously we are probably going to take off for Christmas. We're going to try to do a Thanksgiving thing, but who knows? We'll see. But we know you guys, for some reason, want to listen to shows, and we're going to keep making them through that time. Also, of course, we have lots of off-season stuff planned with the drift dads and drivers and teams and stuff like that. And, let us know also in the discussion board on Facebook if you want to hear anyone specifically that we haven't talked to, or maybe someone that we have that you want to hear again. Because we got an off-season. We're here. We're in it. We're thick in it. Already hearing lots of plans. We heard a bunch of cool shit at Sama. We got the big news from FD, of course, is 2 new locations and 2 locations getting dropped. Corey.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
It feels good to be back, dude.
It does. You're sipping on your mug. Looks like, are you in the middle of an Apex game?
I was about ready to slam down some Apex Legends. My bros here came in
cool.
and said, "No, I'm just thinking. I was going to ask you, Sam. You know, journalism. We're journalists, dude. We're not fucking anything else, right?"
I mean,
and you mentioned the drift ads. Which one would you kiss if you had to kiss one of them?
Obviously, it's a tough call between Ryan and Jim. My heart says, I'd say my head says Jim. My heart says Ryan.
Ryan, yeah.
Because that guy is he's like a porpoise. He's not a hair on his body.
No, not at all.
And me being a very hairy man, I can't go with another very hairy man because the friction would start a fire.
Velcro. It's Velcro. You guys would be stuck together.
And Jim is like a little Wookiee if you've never seen him in person.
Hey.
You don't see him as often as Ryan, but he's a very hairy little Asian man. No, it's not true.
Yeah.
But very excited about the new rounds. We're gonna go into this stuff very.
Yeah. Let's
in-
go
in
around the
much
room.
detail in
Let's break
future.
the ice. Let's break
but-
the ice. Andrew, who do you want to kiss, Jim or Ryan? Let's cut to the chase here.
Andrew.
Oh my God, I'm trying so hard to stay on track, Corey.
Just
It's
point
tough.
blank like that?
It's so tough.
Oh, yeah,
so
we're just,
tough.
we got 50 people
Jim.
in the crowd right now warming up, dude. We got to get these guys hyped for us to be back. Who you kissing, Andrew? Come on,
Jim.
Jim. Let's go next door. Who do
You
you
can't
guys
just
got?
say hold on. You can't just say a name. You got to explain why.
I want more attention from Jim.
Nice. That's great. Fair. Pro 2 driver Andrew Schulte wants a little bump. Nice. Good call. Josh, what about you, buddy?
Feeling a little promiscuous, maybe both.
Wow. That's great. Okay.
Same time, triple kiss, or are we talking?
No, I
like
just
kiss
wouldn't
one?
tell one or the other. You know, it's just like, you know, shut the door.
Sure.
and, hey,
Talk about like a three-way.
yeah,
A
Yeah.
three-way in the dark.
yeah.
Chris.
Play Who's in My Mouth.
Oh my God.
Please, okay. This off season is going to be a very PG
Yep.
season. If we
It
can
is.
just keep comments like that, just chill.
Well, it's 2020, so you understand. We have another 2 months of just being the most raunchy human beings we can. So we have another month and a half of freedom before
yeah,
we actually.
2020.
Thank you,
This
Corey.
show's
Thank you.
this show's going to
Appreciate that.
finally clean up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chris, you're on the spot, I guess.
All right. I think we'll even things out and go with Ryan.
Nice. You guys look the same.
Yeah, that's the attraction.
Dude.
Similar,
That's the
comfortable. You know,
So, dude, when bald people meet each other, do they shake hands or they touch bald heads together?
both.
Like
It's part of the
Oh my God, I can't
handshake.
wait till I lose all my hair.
It's part of the handshake.
it's called
Sorry,
a head
Sam. I
shake.
just had to get that out of the way. I've been thinking about
Yeah.
that for the past 3 weeks. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay. I've been wanting to talk to everyone about E-Town Drift and coming back to Sonoma, but I mean, kissing dads is pretty important. Daddy kisses, as we all know, are some of the best kisses. So it's
Daddy,
good that we got
daddy
that.
kisses.
But we're going to talk to those guys after Thanksgiving. Bunch of other guests. Let us know if you want to hear anyone specifically,
Yeah.
new or old. And tons of news
Sam.
coming out.
You look fresh after SEMA. Like
Oh,
what were you doing during SEMA? Because that's the other thing.
I
Like
never
we
actually went to SEMA. I was around SEMA.
you were
I
around
never
SEMA.
actually went into the show. Yeah, I was doing a Michelin pilot experience with race service and shot about 50 influencers having a lot of fun at Exotics Racing and Spring Mountain and a bunch of restaurants. I got a permit and flew my drone over downtown LA or Las Vegas. I had a permit. It was cool. That was cool. We did Grid Life Game Night, where all three of us hosted.
Woo!
It
In
was
Austin.
a beautiful mess, but it was fun, and enjoyed the hanging out with the Grid Life boys. And yeah, how was your guys' SEMA? Corey, you lost your voice by Thursday because you're screaming at the animals in the barnyard.
Yeah. I was so I was wrestling in some vehicles in the barnyard. I was yelling at people. I was running around a lot. It was a good SEMA. It was
Every
a really,
video
really good SEMA.
I saw captured of you, you're doing windmills with your hand. Like it was the air guitar / windmill, just like the theme.
No, I was no. I was just waving the fart away, dude.
Oh.
I was trying to get it away. Yeah.
That was nice
Yeah.
of you.
I just going out there and you have all the buffets, dude. The buffets wreck. So yeah. So anyways, what I do is I dust it into the smoke so it doesn't smell as bad.
That makes sense. That's
Yeah.
good on you. What was the craziest barnyard moment of the entire week?
Dude, there's this guy. I gotta find some pictures because the pictures will do it justice. A brand new, like, full-on SEMA build, $120,000 K5 Blazer or whatever the fuck it was. Ended up crashing and destroying itself, like yard selling it first time out, and it was
Yeah,
this
at the
dude
barnyard.
At the barnyard, it was incredible. But outside of that, we probably 10, 15 cars caught on fire at least. Dude, I gave Dan Henderson, the UFC fighter, a ride in my drift car. I hung out with Travis Pastrana talking about drift cars. He was ripping a selfie video with me next to my drift car, which was fucking cool.
Damn.
What else happened? Yeah, dude, that was it. Hanging out and doing burnouts, and I told Dan Henderson not to punch me in the face.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah.
But did he?
No.
That's pretty chill of him.
Yeah, no, it was really nice of him.
Who definitely in the off season we've not spent a lot of time talking to the Hubingens. Who should we discuss? Because we definitely got to talk to someone. Some people.
gotta get
over
Dan.
there. Yeah, I really like Dan. Dan's a very.
That's a
swell
good boy. He's the bestest of boys.
Love to talk to Dan, but Corey, you obviously are the best liaison to that.
Yeah, we could talk to anybody over there. They're more than willing and happy.
And Paco, of course, you were only at Sima the last day
Yeah.
for the Grid Life game night. But what was
Thursday
your-
we did Thursday and Friday. Big Balls and I went to SEMA. We walk a lot. We walk what Brian was like 7 miles. 7 miles? Yeah, we got like 7 miles of walking.
Well, to be fair, Brian walked a lot. You were in his Yoda backpack.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Correct.
oh, and don't even get me started on the baby Yoda.
So that's the thing is, you need to do 500 miles, then he needs to be 500 miles, and just be the man to walk 500 more.
Well, dude, just imagine this with Brian's gigantic sack.
Mhm.
Like I was like
Okay.
his second sack. I was like his Yoda sack. So he was carrying me. He was carrying me around like a king, and people was like they thought I was some kind of like big shot or something. But
Yeah,
no, we had fun. We went to game night. We hosted game night, and by the way, Brian, like I mean, dude,
it was a massacre. Not that so the drifting portion was not graded by points. It was it wasn't graded as like it's like a digital drift life. So
Yeah.
drift life, grid life. So it's not scored. But if there was
But it
a
was.
score, if there was a score and the score was on the screen, Brian got about 60, 70, 80,000 points, and everyone else was in the negatives.
No, he actually, as a fact, he got like 78,000 points
Yeah.
over like the second place, and I mean, like literally, Brian came to SEMA just to go to Grid Life
Just
game
for that
night.
moment to school.
Yeah,
Were
and
you
just-
playing against Chelsea and Vaughn? Brian?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
forget.
that's right. So Chelsea Denova was driving as Andy Hadley, but he was like a ringer, and he couldn't drift for shit. That's right, Chelsea.
And,
you
and if you're
you
listening,
sucked.
Andy Haley, I'm really sorry. The scheduling got pushed past the time that he was supposed to go on. So, Andy, we're gonna let you drive the entire next game night. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like Brian just schooled the entire audience on how to drift on Forza. That was a lot of fun. And then we went to get tube steak with Corey at night.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
I did get really drunk that night. I usually don't drink that much, but
Yeah.
man,
Yeah,
that
you
night,
rarely imbibe at all. That must have been a sight.
that must have been. Oh yeah, that was a good time. I was actually just running around, seeing how many noises I can make on the microphone the entire night.
How many did you make?
Yeah, after 20, I lost count
Oh, forgot about noises.
because I
Let's-
run out of things to count on my feet and hands, and after that, I'm screwed.
So let's bring it to the boys in the room. You guys have sat quietly long enough. You're a very loud crew. It's been tough to contain you, but Paco's managed. What do you guys think of the Baby Yoda? And I know, chat, he's not actually Yoda. It's Mandalorian spoilers coming in hot. If you
Right.
haven't watched Mandalorian, don't listen to the Yoda chat. It's not a Yoda. I think I looked it up online. It's called Atlantic in the previous lore. I think they're calling him something else for this. But yeah, tell me about the Baby Yoda, boys.
I'm looking it up right now because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Jesus. All right, stay.
Okay,
in your blue
let me ask this people here in the studio. Any of you guys have Disney Plus?
No, not
Yes.
yet.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Andrew is our man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well,
I haven't
Chris
watched
Soehren?
Mandalorian yet though.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you even got Disney Plus for?
I have
Little
a,
Mermaid.
I have a
Boy Meets
wife.
World.
You have a wife?
I have a wife. So Disney Plus is a must.
Wait, do you guys married already?
We did, yes.
Wait, what? Okay. Oh, okay. Extra. What?
Yes.
Cool. Paco
Yes.
wasn't invited to the wedding.
Apparently.
Still, Andrew.
We have not had a big ceremony, but we went and got married. Yes.
Is that called eloping?
I don't know. I don't
think-
know. Is it?
I think that's no. Wait, I think so. Yeah, you guys technically eloped.
Okay. Sure. I don't
Hey,
know.
congratulations! High five!
Thanks. Thank you.
Hey,
Super-
congrats, dude! Good for you.
Spread the candle.
But yeah, so that's why we have Disney Plus.
Nice.
You
yeah.
know, got to watch all the classics together. Haven't
Nice.
watched Mandalorian.
What about Brink? You watch Brink on there?
I haven't watched it on Disney Plus yet. I've watched it like 24 times though.
Yeah. What about Xenon? The
Warrior
Stephanie.
Princess.
What's Stephanie?
The girl of the
name
21st century,
movie?
Xenon.
Xenon and the girl of the.
21st century, yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he knows it. All right.
Like a
all right,
few
never mind.
times
Girl of
over.
the 21st. Yeah. So
That's a
yeah, that's a
staple.
hot one. Boy Meets World is on there.
Mhm.
You know, it's just full of hits.
Live action Lady and the Tramp.
X-Men from Saturday morning cartoons.
X-Men from the
That's
Saturday
dope.
morning cartoons.
This is, by the way, Disney Plus obviously saw the bright future in sponsoring Maximum Driftcast. So
I'm pretty upset though. My Samsung TV is a 4K Samsung TV smart hub, and it doesn't support Disney Plus. And I mean, honestly, I was just gonna buy it because it's the same cost of paying for Hulu anyways, and I already have Hulu.
You can bundle
yeah, but the big
Hulu with
complaint
Disney.
now
Yeah,
is that
Everybody's getting hacked.
I have Netflix, HBO, Prime, Hulu, and now Disney Plus. So it's like the same price as cable now, which is a bunch of shit. But that's showbiz, baby.
I mean, we have a pro tip right here from Silas user is saying, pro tip: you can mooch Disney Plus just like you mooch Netflix from someone else's account. Thanks, Silas.
Well, we need to come up with like a sharing circle where like each of us buys one thing. I just end up buying the things and handing them out to my friends. So that's the problem. I got to start thinking smart.
Yeah, but isn't Netflix gonna start cracking down on that or something?
Better fucking not. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. It was.
And it's a free country, Josh, if that's
All right,
your
you guys-
real name.
You guys want to talk about drifting?
Let's talk about drifting. How about that?
So we
When does
have
Baby Yoda get into drifting?
Baby Yoda is already in drifting. Also, he's not a Yoda. You gotta stop saying that, or Knives 9 in chat's gonna get real upset.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's all good. But so we have with us here the creators of Phoenix's biggest annual drift event for 3. This is the 3rd year.
Yes.
Correct.
And Phoenix, of course, as we mentioned at the head of the show, has a very special place in all of our hearts because that's where we all began. And 2 out of the 3 of us live there, and obviously all the others live there. But tell us what the Meihan is all about. And I think we mentioned it last time. What is a Meihan?
Boys?
A Meihan is another name for Baby Yoda.
That's right.
Good job, Chris. Also,
it back around.
you can be louder. It's fine.
Okay.
I know you can hear yourself on the headphones, but just speak out.
Okay.
The
very
world's
good.
out there to hear you.
Very good. Meihan. So it's a cool little track in Japan that some drifters know about and had kind of a cool following. So it was kind of a concept that last time we were on here, we had talked about a lot of local guys, including ourselves, were interested in holding some sort of a party event, we'll call it, and didn't really have a set plan or idea. We thought about just renting a track and inviting 20 people to cover the costs and just have our own event. But it slowly turned into what it is today, I guess, that we decided to do the Meihan Sportland replica. We used GPS coordinates to recreate that on a skid pad at Bondurant Racing School in Chandler. And so we did that, and by pure accident, I guess it struck a nerve, and everybody was super
Pissed
excited to do it. Pissed off. Yeah, sorry, correction. Pissed
struck
off,
a
hated
nerve.
it.
Everyone
Nobody
was
showed
angry
up.
that
We went
You
home
went
at
through all
like
those
8 a.m.
Details.
Yeah.
Burn the place
You went through those
down.
details to mimic an actual track in Japan, foot by foot or meter by meter. I think they use metric. Do they?
Yeah, the conversion was rough, yeah.
Now, does the Meihan track have the same ridges in the skid pad that made my really shitty blown out suspension in my S14 handle like trash?
Nope, it's all nice and flat. You'd be fine here, Sam. You'd be fine.
Oh, good to know.
Which, by the way, Sam was an invited driver
Yeah,
to Desert Meihan.
No one. Oh, you said I was or wasn't?
I mean, you still are. You have a
So
couple
I'm-
weeks to get your car here.
Yeah.
Cool, I'll do it. I actually did just get the word that the place that is sheltering my car that I've never seen for the past 2 years might be moving/closing. So I might have to do something with it soon. As we've seen, Corey doesn't have any space for it in his garage. So Paco, what's up?
I mean, Corey has a gigantic garage right now.
No, there's no room in there for me. It's fine, Paco.
We
gotta
get
figure
it.
out our plan.
We can figure something out,
If you
but
weren't on BC's, dude, I would put you wherever you want, Sam. But you decided to go the feces route and not the taste buds.
Ooh, spicy boy.
calling it out.
Look,
Salty.
I'm trying to help you out, brother. Come on. How much did you spend on storage? How much is it a month?
I don't recall, but between 1 and 200.
Okay, so 200. Let's say 200. Let's take the high side just to make it sound even worse.
Yeah,
And how long has it been in storage for?
enough time to.
2 years?
Cool. Yeah, let's call it that.
Okay, so that's about 24. So about $4,800 you spend in storage.
Worth it.
You could have bought 3 sets of coilovers.
Yeah. So
and
in
had
other
a place
words,
to store it
you should
for
have
free.
Yeah. Why don't you take my car then, and we'll talk.
Hey guys, let's not fight let's not do like sponsor fight right now.
We can all
We'll
fight over pocket.
yeah, let's fight over these gentlemen right here. How about
I
that?
know. I'm going to. I want to.
I'll pick up your car. So one of these weekends. How about that? And
Let's do it.
we'll figure it out. Can you come drive? I guess still inviting Sam if you.
Well, we have to hook up one of my 3 e-brakes, and then I think we're pretty good.
Oh, I'm very good at hooking up e-brakes. I mean, I can
Sick.
totally do that.
I've seen that. I can attest to that.
There you go.
Enough about my bullshit car, though. So, tell me about the event last year. How many people? What can people expect? And then what are the plans for this year?
Josh, you want to take this one?
Well,
This was actually we have a
this
flyer
is-
from
yeah,
last
this
year.
is from
Speaking
last
of last year.
If you
So-
don't know it, you have to look at the flyer.
No, that's a
he
flyer
was
from last year.
handing me a flyer, so we
Yeah,
had.
close your
it
eyes.
was
and
kind of
read
funny
the
that
names.
he has all the flyers out here for from the first one
Look at that.
to
It's
the
got the
second one to the third one. It's actually kind of cool to see them, the progression of the flyers that we had made and stuff to promote the event. But yeah,
But last year was the one. So first year, it was a little bit weird because we had a bunch of guests,
it was
and
definitely a feeler.
and I think I think only one guest showed up.
Yes.
No, 2. So you had Forrest and Fred Lump.
Correct.
There were
yes.
2 of the 4 guests. Only they showed
Where
up.
did Fred Lump go?
He went drifting
That's a good
to Mexico.
Did he actually go to Desert Meihan in Japan, or I don't know. It's confusing.
He went
Sorry.
to
Um,
Mexico,
Go ahead.
man.
But there was like a little bit of like confusion. Not confusion actually. There was like a couple more drivers, again drivers that couldn't show up last minute, and then Dan Brockett couldn't show up either. Like we even had a flyer
Oh, but don't
for
worry, we got Caleb Kwan back out here. We got Ryan
Caleb.
Denowitz.
That's right. Caleb
We
showed up
had-
as well.
We had more skids out here.
Yep.
You had over probably 2.5, 3 million YouTube subs
Red-
with the people out here.
Yeah,
So we
Red
made
Dan
up for
showed
it.
up,
Well, and then Rod then
randomly.
showed up in a Cadillac.
Yeah.
which is a guest driver for this year.
Yeah. So it was a weird event. It's the first time you guys put this event together, and then
It's
suddenly.
not bad for a first event, but let it be warned to any other people that are eager to start their own event. Be prepared for a shit show, I guess, right?
Yep.
Pretty much.
Anything can and will happen. Yes.
Yeah.
And then year 2, you guys brought Forrest Wang and Corey Hosford.
Mhm.
And
I showed up.
Forrest was there first year.
First,
as well.
yeah, he was there first year.
Forrest
He's
has been
kind of-
our
Yeah.
regular.
Yeah.
I noticed that you also invited some dickhead in a bear suit.
He was,
I
he
don't
was
know.
there
I don't-
first year too, though,
Yeah, I don't know where he came
Dancing
from, but
around.
he keeps. Sorry.
yelling at people.
Yeah, he keeps coming back. I don't know where he comes from. Sorry.
It looks like he and a bunch of other people are about to be leveled by a car. So maybe, I don't know, this year if the bear runs out
No,
on
the
track.
second year he was, I believe he was hiding in the dolphin most of the time.
Well, I mean,
That was a really
that was
good
a real.
dolphin.
That was a
That was a good dolphin.
Thank you. No, the bear was there. The drift bear was like tapping on the wall and asking for drivers to give ride-alongs and announcing and and playing music,
hyping the crowd.
hyping
And
the.
this is also this is a special event because it's the origin of where the Bay Tray B3 Big Balls Brian got his name, isn't it?
Actually, that's right.
The
So
first-
No,
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Balls Brian got his name at a bar for your going away party. But this solidified.
that's
What did
right.
you do at the bar for the going away?
I just said he needed a code name. He needed a name, and he had Big Balls. That's
Okay.
what it was. And then he carried on the legacy by proving to us it was actually Big Balls Brian.
By just completely wrecking the
Displaying.
back end of that
yes,
car.
Yes, by displaying why
Not
he
by
hasn't-
crashing, but just by doing.
Brian, do you remember that
fast track.
conversation we had at the bar with Sam's going away party?
Brian.
Yeah.
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 There you go, Sam. That's
Yeah.
it.
I had to borrow. By the way, I had to borrow Brian's microphone for all the guests, so he can just like yell.
That's rude. Sorry, Brian.
It's okay.
There you go.
Very good.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, like a lot of things have come up from these events. A lot of destruction, a lot of guest drivers. And this year is like you guys.
Who we got this year? It looks like the roster is pretty filled out.
Yeah, let me
Who-
look. Let me look that up. I can't even remember.
There's so many
all of
guests.
them.
Chris.
I know.
Guys.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Forrest definitely coming back out.
Forrest
again.
Wang for the third
I mean,
year.
He's a huge supporter of this. I mean, he's had just a great time, showing up with everybody, putting on an awesome show. We always talk, and he's just awesome about it, and always definitely helps us give us pointers on building this as well. So we really appreciate him coming out, and he's definitely been a huge help. And then we also have one of the guest drivers that's going to be joining us here today in the studio with
in
us.
the flesh.
Yeah, in
Oh,
the flesh.
he is here actually.
Yeah.
Like you can see.
So
Hi.
Andrew
the
Schulte
gentleman,
is
Andrew
be
Schulte,
one of the guest
which
drivers.
which is it's cool to have a local driver become a guest driver.
Yeah, guest in my own home.
Yeah, because
I mean, he's not really a guest because he's there every month, so
Yeah.
don't blow yourselves, guys.
I realize how weird this looks.
Yeah.
try the number.
And
Who else?
Schulte is also a special boy because he's a Phoenix man that has had some time in the FDs.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Andrew
He's the
did
guy
a
with the
in the
hentai car.
FDs.
yeah. Andrew has a hentai car. For those who don't know, Andrew pilots the hentai S13 Super
Yeah,
Doof.
With the 3D nipples.
Let's see.
There is a
Can
difference
switch
between
cameras real quick, Brian. Up, dude.
Go ahead, show it again.
There you go. He's
We'll
Also,
try it again.
Andrew's about
Chris
to
is
tell us
showing
how hentai is art. Go ahead, Andrew.
There is a difference between hentai and anime, but that's okay.
hentai
We
is
can just
art.
go off the hentai car.
Hentai is art, Andrew. Don't be embarrassed.
It's a Natasha style drift car. Yes, I felt like that needed to be
It's
brought more
tasteful.
in the mainstream here in the U.S. I like
it's
it.
tasteful.
I thank you. I believe so as well.
So, Corey, can you describe the tasteful hentai on Andrew's car real quick?
Yeah, just imagine this beautiful piece of calamari just slithering down his naked, greasy body.
Yeah, it's a strong move to do the hentai as himself with the big calamari.
Yeah.
But that's
Except
kind of an
Andrew,
alpha.
Andrew did get a hairy areoles. He got some fake bolt-ons, and he modeled in a bikini. And I remember that photo shoot directly because he wanted to get lathered in chicken grease, but we didn't have chicken grease. So we had to
By
go
the
for
way,
the next thing, which was provolone jelly. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm feeling a presence on the radio waves. I think there's somebody on the call. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what you guys are getting into, but I don't know if I'm about this.
I'm gonna blame Andrew Schulte because for the hentai talk. So
Tasteful
Oh,
hentai.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
totally the one that brought it up.
sorry about that, but I think let me see if I can. This sounds like somebody who's a guest for this event,
Good.
Desert Meihan. You guys want to introduce who's on the phone right now? Chris?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this would
this
be
is Forrest.
Mr. Forrest Wang.
There you go. Is that Forrest Wang? Forrest,
This is him.
how's it going,
No
buddy?
fucking way.
Yes.
No fucking Wang, dude. This is
No
incredible.
fucking Wang.
So, as Forrest is probably well aware, and all of our fans from day one are well aware, I don't think we've ever had Forrest on the show. And
Never,
this is
ever,
a
ever,
fucking
ever.
dream come
This
true
is
because
wow. I wish I had some confetti to pop, dude. This is nuts.
I'm a completionist, and I think we've probably had not everyone from 2019 maybe, but everyone from at least 2016, 17, 18 on the show, especially June Mang. He was on the show most times. But other than that, we've never talked to Forrest. So, Forrest, thank you so much for taking the time to say hello.
Yep, right on. All good.
Sick.
That's
So
the attitude. I love it.
So Forrest, we were just talking about like you're one of the guys who's been doing for Desert Meihan. This is gonna be your third event, and I mean, I guess the boys are pumped that you've been supporting the event since day one. And what are your thoughts of these kind of event, these party events? I think you also did Grid Life, Colorado this year.
Yeah, this year was my first grid life, and I dig it. I dig the party style, get-togethers because we all started drifting because it was fun, and that's the whole reason why most people drift is because it's fun. It's an awesome time. I really enjoy taking people for ride-alongs and that's something you don't get to do at competitive drift events. So that's like awesome for me to take, especially new people that have never gone drifting. I like taking those kind of people for a ride and seeing their reactions to what we do with these cars, because it's kind of crazy, to somebody that's never ridden in a drift car, to get that like first experience in a pro car. It's definitely it's quite an experience for them, and to get to watch their reactions on it, it's that's what makes it all worthwhile.
It's like a whole different animal. Like the way you guys drive on these party events versus on competitive drifting is like you even heard it like on Formula Drift when you guys are doing practice. It's more like an expression session, and these kind of events it's 100% expression, having fun. And I think last event you brought 2 cars. You got the Supra and you got a. Yeah, and like everybody's like, oh, that Supra's beautiful. Like he's not gonna. No, dude, he's fucking driving it right on the wall, just trashing as hard as everybody else. Like what are your thoughts? Like, why is this so much more fun? So much more like, what I'm saying? Like, there's no winning here. Like, what's the thought on driving these kind of events?
Just solid tandem trains with friends. You get to link up with different drivers and run tandems with them, and like I said, the ride along aspect of it, taking friends and new friends for rides, and getting to share the experience instead of just you and your car in competition, serious, taking on the other driver or taking on the track, whatever the case may be. These events, it's that, but it's also getting to experience that with friends and doing tandem trains and all that, and no pressure, no real like time, like, okay, it's qualifying time, you're on the spot, it's go time. It's kind of just, you feel like going out for the session and going and, spinning some tires up, go for it. If somebody want to jump in, it's all good. That kind of vibe is like, it's super chill. And like I said, we all started drifting to have fun.
Yeah.
So these events are the most fun.
Not me. I'm in it for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam has made so much money on drifting. It's unbelievable. He's such a sellout.
Oh, yeah. This year, it looks like Paco's been trying really intently the past few years to rip off your wing with his bare hand when you drive by. Do you think this will be the year?
I don't know. It scares me. I don't know. I saw that video from a few years ago where that guy got face slapped with the wing. And
Yeah.
Anytime there's an event with the wall ride, I'm gonna be about it. Like, I love the wall rides, but people behind the barriers kind of scare me, because like once a driver's like focused on like that wall, like,
Yeah, it's not
and
their
committed
responsibility.
to that line, there's no coming back from it. So if somebody just sticks their hand out there or sticks their face out there, I just worry about like, injury, because a wing flying across the wall at 70 miles an hour is no joke. Like, that could do some serious damage. It could take an arm. It could, break a bone. Like, I don't want to be, I was just talking to a friend about this recently, and even though like it's out of my control at that point, you still would feel awful if you were the driver that like, ended up hurting somebody severely. So definitely, try to play it smart. I love the shots that he was getting last year. Awesome shots, but just, take it easy. Don't get too close, and I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
I think
Most importantly, did you hear my pun about bare hands though? Because he was in a bear suit. I just really, just really want to make sure you guys heard that.
Oh yeah, we got it.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Josh and Chris are checking their insurance policy over there now.
Yeah,
I should probably stop bringing it up, but at the same time, maybe vet the people on the wall and make sure they're at least watching the direction of the car.
Oh, and that's a huge thing that we did for this year, with media and everybody, like just keeping the safety up every year. As we do this, we learn every single time, I mentioned earlier, Forrest is a huge help, and every time I meet up with him or even talk to him on the phone, I'm like, hey, what can we do differently? What can we do? You know, it's just a learning curve every single year that we do this, and we're 100% happy to, you know, take the criticism and learn from it, because it just helps us build that bigger, more fun event every year. So.
And what how many runs can one get during the event if they brought infinite tires and an unbreakable car?
Yeah, with the perfect setup, infinite tires and unbreakable car, every run group will have 6 sessions a day.
6 sessions,
Yeah, 6 sessions a day.
Which
so
we added one as well for the guests this year.
Correct. So we'll have an A, B, and C group. They'll each get 6 sessions, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, both Saturday and Sunday. And then for this year, I don't think we've really officially announced this, but we'll let everybody know that we added a pro-only group. Since we have a buttload of pro drivers coming out, we're going to do a pro-only group. So that'll be fun for all of us to watch, and a chance for them to really step it up and kind of dice
Flex.
it up together, flex on the rest of us little peasants.
And more
Yes.
importantly, I don't remember if it was Forrest or another pro driver at Grid Life, but most 99% of the people that chase the pros are pretty respectful and don't try to run 100-point tandem lines. Not that tandem's graded by points, but you know, not trying to run the door on a pro. But was it you, Forrest, that someone at Alpine just gave you a good punt on the door? Or was it someone else?
No, it must have been somebody else. I had a couple people mess up in front of me, and I hit them. But
yeah, well, that's okay. That's on
I'm
them.
open to it. I'm all good with tandeming with the random pro-am guy.
Well,
it's all in good fun, and it helps them, you know, to help push their comfort level and get you know, try to drive a little bit harder, a little faster, get a little to the wall.
Yeah, that's been one of the coolest things about Desert Meihan, that a lot of people, like even like non-pro to pro-am drivers, they literally got their photo of you know, them tandeming with you, and I think for a lot of drivers that's like an accomplishment. Like, dude, I'm tandeming, like, which is most of the time is you just chasing them right on their door, and
well, that's the safest way for sure. But
Yeah.
if you are
like
following someone, ever try not to hit them, but especially if it's a pro in like their demo car that probably has a lot of hours and work, especially like Forrest, whose cars are almost always in meticulous condition. Just you know, have fun with them, but please try not to hit them.
To them, it's like the equivalent of like going up to a movie star and taking a photo, like you know, like outside of a signing booth.
Yeah.
But instead, you're actually like doing the exact same thing that star is doing. You know. Like, You're actually like going out there and drifting with that same person that's out there like busting ass.
And the cool thing is that one of the things I've noticed, Forrest is very good at adapting and reading the driver who's in front of him. So he can chase a very slow driver, a very fast driver, a very James Dean driver, even if he's not even doing drifting.
Very good.
You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink. So, yeah, that's cool. Like we have like literally you just go and jam with everybody, because obviously pro drivers can go into every group.
Correct. Yeah, we allow the pro drivers, since they are pros and show the rest of us how to do it. They're allowed in any of our run groups because they play nicely with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, since we have so many this year, we'll get to that list in a minute. But since we have so many this year, we are doing a pro only group, so they have a session to go out and dice it up with their peers.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure some pros are gonna mix the waters a little bit and hang out in some of the bro sessions. So you will have your opportunity to ruin someone's car if you wish.
Forrest,
but Chris, you also said real quick. Chris, you said like, oh, hang out with pro drivers. But if you've not heard Chris on the show before, Chris is a skilled pro-am driver that I think could definitely compete in Pro 2 should the tides favor him. But he's also an awesome driver, and him and his wife just built a badass BMW from what I've seen in the photos.
Thank you. Yeah, if money was no object and tires were just
Free.
falling out of the sky.
And you didn't have
Pro
to
2
run
would be
the
fun.
full-time plus business and 10 other ifs, but
Yeah, right. Yeah, the time is the biggest factor there. It's just not time for it, unfortunately. But that would be a lot of fun. It'd be a dream come true. And thanks for the props on the E92 we just built. But
we can get
tons of
dirty
time.
in it later. I don't know how long Forrest is with us on the show, but we can go into the specs and all that jazz. But yeah, Paco, what else you got?
Forrest, all the other guest drivers who are coming?
Most of them. I think I remember most of them.
Yeah, but...
Well, the guy that's holding the event doesn't, so maybe you can help him.
I've got a list here, Sam.
Yeah,
Damn
it looks like a really good guest driver list.
Okay, Chris, give us the roster real quick.
Okay, here's the roster.
Give us the rooster.
The rooster, Chris.
The roster.
Here comes the rooster. Everybody ready? All right. Forrest Wang, we know that. Mr. Andrew Schulte with us here in the flesh. Ryan Literal. Rome Charpentier. Blake Olson. Rad Dan. George Kirikoulopoulos.
That's correct.
And Chelsea Denofa. That is...
Nice.
That's it. That's all we got.
And where's Corey? Where's Corey Hosford?
Corey said he might come Sunday. Corey, are you coming?
I want to try to come Sunday. Yeah, I want to try to come Sunday.
Cool.
Are you barnyarding? Or what are you doing?
I'm barnyarding on Saturday, and then I'm gonna try to fly back Saturday night and hit the Meihanski on Sunday.
I can
Sweet.
drive your car.
For-
It's clear from that picture in the background that you've now created. Look at that guy's hairy nipples.
What are you talking about?
That's
Is that you
Corey
changing
made
my
it.
background, Sam? Is that
Oh
you
my
changing my
God.
background on
No,
me?
it's not me.
Forrest. Before these guys go on a tangent, who are
What
these?
tangent?
Who of these other guest drivers are you most excited to drive with and tandem with?
Definitely say Ryan Literal. He's a guy that knows how to style out, ride the walls. You know, he brings a super clean S chassis with the awesome paint job, graphics, doof kit, 3-piece wheels. You know, it's similar to the style that I like to bring. So I think driving with Ryan's going to be the most fun. But, like I said, I enjoy driving with everybody. Like, it doesn't matter if they're, got pro-level cars or even if it's a SR car. I had a great time driving out there with Sam last year. And to me, it's like I said, these events are the most fun because you're just mixing in with all the boys, your old, friends and Pro-Am drivers. And this year with a lot more, pros as well. So that'll be cool that we have our own session to where we can really let loose in that group, and everybody's going to hopefully be going, pretty fast and riding the walls on the same kind of general speed. Because tires have a lot to play. I mean, I know a lot of the Pro-Am drivers, and they don't have the level of tires that the pro cars can run. Yep. And the consistency of having like a really good tire underneath your car, it just allows you to push the limits a little bit more because you got that, grip to fall back on. If you're kind of coming out on some street kind of harder tires, obviously you can't go as fast and you don't have the consistency underneath you. So it's hard to push the wall if you don't feel confident in the tires underneath your car.
Forrest, I don't know if Ryan Literal looks at you this way, but whenever he looks at me, I'm not sure if he wants to have sex with me or fight me. It could be both, but that's one of the things that I like about him, is that he's passionate in maybe both regards. I don't know. I've never tested the waters with him. I haven't seen yet.
You should.
Is that common? Does everyone get that?
You ever get that look, Forrest?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I know.
Yeah. Literal look.
Consensus. What's the other thing? Forrest, are you? What cars are you bringing?
Undecided as of now. I think I'm going to bring the S15 and then probably my street demo car. It just got a sequential in it, so that's going to be pretty fun to play around in. It's a 1J, but it's got a sequential gearbox behind it now, so haven't really got to take it on the track yet, but it's been fun. We drove it out to Ignited on the street, and ripped through some gears, and I did a couple little around the shop pulls, and that car's a lot of fun. I like that it's a little bit lower powered, especially on that like smaller track. It'll be fun because I can really open it up as compared to like the FD cars on that small of a track. You don't really get to open it up very much.
What's
It's
the
such tight track.
What about bringing Scott's car out again? Have you talked to Scott about bringing his little SR car out?
I don't think he's bringing it. He's in the process of doing an S15 front end conversion on it, so I think it's down and out for this one, which is a bummer because I love driving that car, man. That
Nice.
SR, you can really get after it. You know, it takes me back to the old school days.
Are you guys talking about Scotty's
clutch
S13 pickup?
The truck, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of my highlights driving with Forrest. We've driven together a handful of times, and I remember at a Vegas drift event, it was the Tamada replica, and I'm like, God damn, Scott is all up on my shit right now. I don't get it. Like all I see is Scott out of my peripherals, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Scotty likes to party.
I had the same sensation at Meihan last year. I was driving. I had the half pink, half blue livery last year, and I'm just ripping. And then I look out the passenger window. I'm like, Scott, what the fuck, Scott? okay.
Yeah.
Later, we learned it was Forrest.
That's right. That was what's going on.
Forrest, what in your opinion is the perfect balance for like a party weekend car? So like a Meihan car or a Grid Life car or something. Imagine you're gonna say S chassis, but like what motor, what power level, what tires you running?
I'd say S chassis just because that's my kind of car. That's
That's
what
your
I
jam.
work on. But I'd say like a 1J, mild turbo, maybe even stock turbo, something 400-ish horsepower, 400 horsepower. Say like a 235 4018 in like a hard compound like Accelera or something. That way you can just run lap after lap after lap.
Right.
Great.
Because,
So what I just got rid of,
cars are
basically.
great. It's super fun.
Yeah.
But you only get I can only turn like 4 laps, and then I got to change tires, and honestly changing tires longer than you're on the track. So
Yeah.
that's what was so cool about Scott's car. I mean, we did like 20 laps on a tire, and it still didn't even look like it was burnt. And I was like, man, this is awesome! Like being able to do that many laps. It's
See, that-
like smiles per dollar.
That's-
it's got a high
that's kinda
smile
where-
Miles per mile.
Yeah. That's kind of Brian. 2 weekends ago, last weekend, we went to the Adrenaline event, and Brian was running the LS400 drift limo with passengers in it, and you didn't even went to one set of tires, Brian. And
They were on the wear bars when I
they were on the wear bars when you got it. I mean, like, and the car was just partying just as right. And I think like half the event you were spraying nitrous, half the event you weren't. So, I mean, yeah, I think like there's no need to have this insane amount of power to have fun and party, because like honestly, like going through so many
Spend more
tires.
to drive less.
Exactly.
Yeah. On the contrary, that's why it's important, because I see some people overbuilding their cars for weekend warrior events, and it's like, it seems like 300 to 400 horsepower with a reliable motor and tires that will last seems to be the best formula for fun.
Yeah, definitely. That's the way to go. And if that's what you want to do is just drift for fun, then just keep it at that. And a lot of people, they come to me and they tell me like, oh yeah, I want to go pro, and I kind of try to shed some light on that subject, because it's like, it's tough. Pro drifting's not for everyone. Like, there's still good times to be had. Just like you said, being that weekend warrior. Just go out there, once a month, or however many times, 2 times a year, 3 times a year, whatever it is, and just go out there to drift with your friends and have fun. Don't really try to take it too seriously and get all competitive with it. Because sometimes doing that takes the fun out of it, because
Absolutely.
you're so serious about it and you want it so badly, and you're basically eating ramen every day to try to build up your car, and then you go to an event and it either breaks or something else happens, and that can really get you down. So I always try to ask people to be realistic when it comes to the whole pro drifting thing, because it's not for everyone.
That's it. I think that's you just hit the nail on the head when you say like the word realistic. So I think that's what a lot of people don't get either on pro or on just fun cars. Like a lot of people just go crazy. I mean, I think I want an example of non-realistic builds. You know, I always do that shit. But you know,
I
like
know what you're talking about.
yeah, like if somebody asks me like, hey, like I want to buy a minivan and drift it, I'll be the first one to tell them like, don't do it. You know, like be realistic. you want to have fun. Get a good car. Get a BMW. Get an S13 or an S14, and you know, like you're gonna have a lot of fun. I enjoy like putting myself through the struggle. But yeah, no, like I think you nailed it. And I think you know, Andrew right here, Pro 2 driver, he just went through a whole season of Pro 2.
Yep. First rookie season, went to get my first-hand experience at the realisticness of doing that at that level.
What
was it everything you hoped it was going to be?
Everything and more. Whether that more be good or bad, it was more.
Yeah. But you got the experience. Are you going to come back next year, Andrew?
You know,
working on
anything's on the table, but
do it.
One thing that this year definitely taught me was what beyond just the car on the track and what you see on the live stream, everything that goes on behind that to get to that point, how much that's actually worth, how much that stuff costs, all the behind the scenes stuff, and whether that has its payoff. I mean, different strokes for different folks, right? Like for some people, FD is it. They're a competitive person, and that's where they're meant to be. And for some people who just want the joy of driving just for the purity of it, there's a high cost to getting out on that track. Like from not just dollars wise, mental wise, time commitment. So it was an eye-opening experience this year. I definitely wouldn't have traded it for anything. I'm glad we did it. It was amazing. I had a ton of fun. We had a really solid program, I feel like, for a rookie season out. Just really educational. I'm glad we had it. Super valuable.
Well, it clearly fucked up Corey. I mean, look at him. He's not doing okay over there.
Corey's out in space.
Yeah. I'm going skydiving, dude. I'm just out of here cruising, dude.
Andrew,
so you gave us this long explanation, Andrew. Are you going back next year or what?
I don't know. The short answer is I don't know. I think at this point I'm leaning away from it, to be honest. Now I have Formula Drift Pro 2 under my belt, 1 year of it, all 4 rounds, and I also have a few large-scale party events under my belt. I've done Grid Life South, I've done Grid Life Michigan now as of this year. I've done both the LS Fest events. So now I can really weigh those against each other, and at this point, I'm getting more out of those party lifestyle type events, the Meihan stuff, than I am FD. Just for who I am personally and why I drift, the reason why I do it. Those events pay off greater for me than Formula Drift has.
Well, Forrest actually said he's going to fund every Pro 2 driver that wants to drive this year.
That's great. Even beyond the money, just time-wise. Time is still a big commitment.
You can't fund your time, but you can give everyone endless money.
Exactly.
No, I wish.
Andrew, before
Can't
we
even find enough money to run my own program.
there you go. Before we let Forrest go, Andrew, what would you ask Forrest as far as advice? If you had any question you could ask him. I know you guys maybe talk behind curtains before, but I mean, like something that you could ask that the people who's listening could get.
I don't know if Forrest and I have talked much behind the scenes. I'm kind of a shy guy. I'm not the most outgoing in the world. But the one thing I guess
got a hentai car, dude.
Eyes on you.
I'm vocal. I'm vocal in all aspects except like my personal what I say. I guess if I had to ask one thing, it's what's your go-to method for keeping that balance level between, if you know, what you were talking about earlier as far as why you're drifting, if it's just for the fun of it and when it gets too serious, how do you keep that balanced? What do you ask yourself to make sure that stays balanced?
Tough. Sometimes I get to an FD event and I like I don't even, want to be there. I'm like, oh, here's another weekend I got to drift. Like, not to say that the drifting part's bad, but it's just you have to, like you said, mentally. There's a lot that goes on mentally for you to get through an event. You have to travel. You got to get everything set up. You got to. Sometimes that wears you out to where I like the demo and fun style events like the Meihan, the Grid Life, that kind of stuff. It's a good getaway from the competitive drifting because that's where you can really unwind and have a lot of fun. I still love driving the drift car at competitive events, but a lot of the other things, like Andrew was saying, behind the scenes stuff that people don't see, all the logistics behind it and the traveling and the maintenance and the preparation mentally and on the car, there's a lot that goes on, and it's pretty tough sometimes. But yeah, like I said, doing the fun events, that's kind of what keeps me sane, I guess, is getting to go out there to, whether it be Meihan or a Grid Life, or I love driving, Willow Springs, Horse Leaf Mile, stuff like that. It's a refreshing getaway from competition driving sometimes.
Nice.
Second, right. Well, thanks for spending time with us, Forrest. Hopefully we can talk to you during a full ep sometime in the future.
Well, and before you go, Forrest, before you go, I can speak for myself, and I think I can speak for Sam and Corey. We all thought you had that battle with Dean. That was all you, man.
I must have heard that from like 1,000 people, but it is what it is, and I'm not bitter about it. It's drifting. It's competitive drifting. I had a good time just getting to drive with the man, because James is the man. Like, when it comes to drift, like, I still, 100% think that he's the best drifter in the world. It's just on that particular battle, it wasn't his, he didn't have what he usually had.
Yeah.
And I wish he would have just, whipped my ass and, won it straight up. But he didn't get his chase together, and, it is what it is. But like I said, it was a fun time getting to, jam with him 2 more times, and getting to put on a good show for the fans was a win in itself.
Hell yeah.
I got to drive my heart out and, get to throw my car at the wall. And that, I said, that's winning in itself. I brought a cool car and I did cool drifts, and I still had a good time.
And almost did a repeat of 2018, which was the craziest part.
Right.
Yeah, it's still fun to watch and all that, but we're gonna yell at the dads about that in a couple weeks.
We definitely gonna put him against the wall with that, like, because we're still not completely.
No, I mean, I had the judges explain it, and like, it's a deep dive into the rationale behind it all, but yeah. It was entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah.
But we appreciate the time, Forrest, and hopefully the guys will see you at the Meihan.
How many?
Desert Meihan.
2 weeks? Are we 2 weeks from Meihan?
Come out if you're anywhere near or can make it. Definitely worth coming out, because this event's going to be even better than the last, and the last was awesome. So I know it's going to be a super fun time. Come check us out. Get a ride along.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
sure.
thank you, Forrest. Again,
Right on,
from Josh and I, we really appreciate you taking the effort to come out and the time to come on the show, and look forward to seeing you 2 weeks from Friday.
Yep, I'll have a bottle of soju waiting for you.
No shit.
Damn. All right, buddy. Well, we'll let you go, because I think you're still busy. You're working. I think you're at your shop right now, right?
Yeah, working on some crawler.
Cool. Well, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for coming, man.
You too, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, you're welcome.
I'll see you
All
soon,
right,
brother.
You guys have a good one.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Well, I think I'm gonna be the first one to say, but I want to thank the Track Society for the opportunity of bringing Forrest Wang on the show for the first time.
I feel like we can finally end the show once and for all, because we have this completion of having Forrest on the show. So.
Yeah, like legitimately, we always wanted to have him because we wanted to hear from him. Like, I know a lot of people online
want to do a full episode with him at some point, and people were asking in the chat like a bunch of FD questions. In full disclosure, he straight up said he would come on the show, but he wanted to focus on the upcoming Meihan event, which I understand fully.
Yeah.
So maybe one day we can dive into the FD realm with him. But for now, that was just Desert Meihan talk.
Yeah.
And, some thoughtful questions from Andrew.
Well, we actually, I mean, that's the other thing. Like we have the opportunity of having Andrew here with his first year of Pro 2, and he's driving Meihan, and you get your thoughts of like you also did Grid Life, and how do you like it? Like, what is it about drifting that you
What is drifting?
What is drifting for you, Andrew?
What even is it?
For?
Well, we between Forrest and I, we touched on a lot of this, but I've done both the Grid Life South and Grid Life Michigan. Ironically, Grid Life Alpine Horizon is the closest to where I live, and that's the one I didn't make it to this year. But I've done events like that, and now I've got a season of Pro 2 under my belt. The thing about these lifestyle events, Desert Meihan being one of them, I did that last year. Looking forward to driving again this year. The thing about these is, it's like a vacation for us. It's like it's relaxing. I know it doesn't look relaxing when you're looking at the media that comes out of these events and how hard everyone's driving and running doors with each other in these huge tandem
because the editors
trains.
aren't using the right music. They're using all that dubstep techno hop. They got to be using some Enigma, Return to Innocence. They got to be using some.
It's amazing how the power the music has that this stuff's set to.
Some Venga Boys would be not amiss if they wanted to hit us with some of that in the edits. But,
right. But yeah, as hectic as it looks in videos, it's relaxing for us because the pressure's off. In something like Formula Drift, your weekend can be over in one run because you missed a clipping point somewhere or took angle out of the car at the wrong place. And that's it. You're done driving. Your whole weekend's over. However far you drove across the country to get there, it doesn't matter. You're done. And that's a lot of pressure, especially when you're spending all this money. Even if sponsors are helping you, a lot of these guys are still reaching in their own pockets. It's a big investment to even get on track. And we all just want to be driving on track. That's why we're all doing it. So these party events, these lifestyle events, that pressure is now off. If you make a bad run, if you shallow up somewhere, you run wide, whatever, you straighten up, it doesn't matter. You just run lap after lap after lap. You get your full, say, investment out of the weekend. You still get your full time driving with all your homies, driving with the buddies, using all your tires, and just in getting everything out of it. So it's relaxing because that pressure's off. It's not one and done.
Somebody, and I think was it Rome Paco Corey, if you can remember, like he is very mentally adjusted. Not saying that you're not, Andrew, but it's like I think part of getting rid of that pressure mentally is a lot of the key to success. And dudes like Chelsea have it. Obviously, Forrest is a chill dude. James, a lot of these dudes all have that in common. Is that like they obviously bummed if they lose, but they seem very mentally dialed. Like Corey used to freak the fuck out at drift events. He would shit himself.
Mm-hmm.
He had IBS real bad. Do you still have IBS, Corey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the mental game is very important.
Yeah, of course. And I'm not saying
having a lot of money.
Having a lot of money. It doesn't hurt, that's for sure.
Who was that we talked to that said that the rounds were like ridiculously cheap for them? Was that Rome as well? But someone said they were like spent like $18,000 for the whole season. Who was that? It was ridiculous.
Cash,
but
Jonathan Hurst, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. It was like, how the fuck do you do that? But then we figured out that there's a bunch of friends and family helping, of course.
Alex
which is
Robinson.
A big part. Yeah, I don't recall. Yeah, they all blend together. But yeah, I mean, it's still not cheap at all. And I think probably most Pro 2 stuff is closer to 30 or 40 or I don't know. You want to talk about how much you spent, Andrew?
Actually, yeah, Andrew, you made a post about it. So,
yeah, I did.
I definitely wanted to. Before like the whole bringing you on the episode for Track Society and Desert Meihan, I kind of wanted to talk to you about that because a lot of people had a lot of questions on your numbers and your math and all that. So can you? Yeah, let's dig in.
Yeah, I did make a post. I really put like no thought into it. I was just like, let's just throw this number out there. That I'm sure like it's something I wondered when I was watching other people go through FD Pro 1 and Pro 2. So the total I had come up with, this is fuel in the truck to get out to the rounds. This is tires. This is hard cards, lodging, food, the registration fee itself for Formula Drift for the full season. All that together, roughly between $20,000 to $25,000 for the 4 rounds. It's the number I put out there on the post, and then people
Makes
started
it-
commenting and
Well,
asking for
it
specifics.
sounds very approachable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. You know, I'm saying like.
But the time that you're taking off from maybe a job you would have, and the time you're
Yeah.
taking, and that's not just the events. I mean, of course, building
Yeah.
a car and building your program and all that.
Right.
So
but-
that 25,000, if you're a regular 9 to 5 worker, turns into maybe like 50,000 when you consider all the time you're not working and potentially not getting paid for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That cost did not include prepping the car over the off season, which we did at some friends' local shop here, Bad Apple Motorsports. We tore it down to a shell, a bare naked shell, and rebuilt it all the way back up. New power.
Bare naked ladies shell. Please.
Exactly. New power plant and everything. So that cost did not include that, and that's a huge number on top of the cost of running the season. And then, like you said, guys having a 9 to 5 job like I do while we do Formula Drift, and I drive my own pickup truck and trailer across the country, so that's more time off of work. You're using all your vacation time you're allotted from work, assuming you have a job structured enough to allot you a reliable vacation time. You're using that plus more for a season of Formula Drift, especially Pro 2, because our events are load in Wednesday, practice and qualifying Thursday, and competing on Friday. You're in the middle of the week there. So you're using a lot of time off if you have a regular job to go along with this. And all that factors on top of this, $24,000 number, which sounds very approachable on the surface.
Would say like one of the things about like the whole you missing days of work and all that. I mean, that goes to the individual. Everybody has a different circumstance. So there's people who are perfectly fine with taking days of work. There's people who work for a place that they will actually take them. Like, oh yeah, you're driving. We'll take you there. Like if you work for a shop or something.
Yeah.
Some shops might literally give you a title sponsorship, and they will take care of the whole traveling costs and all that. So
it's super situational, and that's why like that a post like that where you put a number out is like, I don't want to. It's almost like not even helpful. I feel like, because everyone's situation, the slightest difference in someone's situation can make a world of difference through a season of competitive drifting, even down to like Paco said, like where you work at can make a huge difference if they're involved in the world, and if they're involved in this sport or not. You can get huge breaks that way, or if you work in somewhere completely unrelated, then you're absolutely just using vacation time, and they don't care about what you're doing when you're not at work. You're using your time, and whether you get paid for it or not when you're gone.
Corey, how much you get paid when you go drifting professionally?
How much do I get paid?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just depends on the event.
I mean, I was kind of like making a joke. You were supposed to say like, nothing.
Yeah,
it's mostly zero.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I don't.
No payment.
No, I don't get paid.
No, but I'm saying like when you leave your job to go drifting, like a lot of obviously jobs don't get very excited about it, and like, oh, what do you mean you're gonna go drifting? But I keep we keep telling drivers who come on the show, they're like, hey, looking for sponsors and all that. Like, talk to the people you work for. I remember your brother Corey, when he was doing a sprint car, he was sponsored by a diamond dealer. What's it called? Like a jewelry.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sponsored by a jewelry company.
I mean, like,
dude, I could talk about this for hours, and I think the part of the problem is positioning yourself and working with partners and utilizing the resource of what the series is providing to actually make you more money, and going with a non-traditional motorsports sponsor. And I think a lot of people fumble with how they actually partner with certain people.
They're
I
always
think
trying to
that's
go with
part
something
of
in
it.
the industry.
well, I mean, it just seems natural, right? Like to bring somebody who's like
I
makes
need a
wheels,
clutch, so I'm gonna go for a
tires.
clutch.
Yeah, but then when we saw,
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between financial cash sponsors and then product sponsors. I think those are two different things. I just think a lot of people have problems with blowing out product sponsorships by putting a big signage on the car for them giving you a clutch, right? It's like now you blow out all your real estate to a clutch company that gave you a $1,200 clutch when that could actually be used for somebody that's giving you money. And that's been, I think, a big problem with the sport. And at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to use you for an example, Paco. You're building this Corvette and you put like Advance or ACT clutch on the door, and they give you a clutch, and then I go in there and ask them for $5 or $10 grand. They're going to come back to me saying, oh, well, we gave Paco a clutch and he has the whole door, so why we're giving you 10 grand? And they treat all their partners like that because somebody's ruining it for everybody.
Am I gonna go a little weird and say that like Cars, the movie is a great example where like Rusty's is a huge sponsor, but it has nothing to do with racing, and yet it like supported his whole like break-in career. Like he's like, oh, it always helped my, like they were my big break. I always wanted to have them as a sponsor. And then it blew up to be this huge brand that they sold out to some major huge company, and it was always monetarily.
One thing about the analogy you made, Corey, though, is I was talking to some people that will go unnamed today because they were talking about 2020 program stuff, but they were saying that they're going to move from one company to another because that company has that mentality. That like, we just give product, we never give money. And they said that, us and a bunch of other drivers are actually moving from said company to another company because the other company realized that we can give these drivers some Dolores, and it doesn't have to be a ton, but just enough to advance the product and do all that. So I mean, it does catch up to sponsors over time if there's another competitor in the market for your product that is willing to do more. So I mean, there's of course it's depending on your level of drifting, like you should definitely try to get some parts in exchange for real estate. But to be fair, like Corey said, always try for some bigger stuff. But it's every situation.
Well, here's the other problem is don't just say yes. Everybody says yes. It's for whatever reason, everybody just says yes. There's no negotiating. I think it's just people being new. And this is why I'm like very interested in starting like a small clinic, like a drift clinic or a full motorsports based clinic, because there's ways to manage this and people just don't know. They get into drifting, they go drive a few times, and they end up saying yes to everybody that throws things at them. And for example, and I've been in this situation before, right? So for example, I work with a engine company, right? Or a wheel company. And the wheel company goes, hey, do you know what? We'll give you 20 wheels and we're going to give you 20%, or we're going to give you 15% off the wheel. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm sponsored. I put a big fucking wheel sponsor on the side of my car, right? And then next year I come back to them and I said, hey guys, do you know what? We did all these events. This is how we did. Good. And they're like, oh, well, instead of 15%, now we're going to give you 25%. Now I just burned myself, because all they're going to do for the next 3 years is get me up to their 45%, which is probably their wholesale price. And then after that, then they're going to be like, okay, now we can probably give you $150. And it's like, I think that negotiation process, or the understanding of how the money moves and all that stuff kind of works, is very crucial, because what happens is it burns a lot of people.
You could say that the cheat sponsorship route is what ruined my YouTuber and drift career. Because that's an overstatement for sure, but I definitely sold because it was coming up in viewers and drift ability, and wanted to upgrade my car, and I got some real cheap parts for free in exchange for what was going to be a bunch of real estate on the car, and then ended up blowing up that there car, and then I stopped drifting. I could have rebuilt it, but it was more fun to talk about it on a podcast for 3 years.
Yeah.
Let's divert into. I really want to learn about your new car. Is it officially your wife's car, Chris, or are you calling it the elite car? What's up with that BMW?
That is officially my wife's car, Yasmin. But that's her car. We sold her hatch. It was what was it? The 1990
S13 Rocket
S13
Bunny hatch. That was and she was from the day I started drifting in Phoenix. It was definitely a badass to see not only a lady drifter, but a lady drifter that was the real deal. Like, not, again, this is sticky territory, but not calling other lady drifter not the real deal, but she was like in it, and she was or is a very like passionate, hardcore, dedicated, badass lady, as you've seen, I'm sure, Chris. But it's cool that she has been continually pushing, and you guys just built this sick ass car.
Just for the record, she practiced Krav Maga, and she'll beat the hell out of anybody in this room. And
Yep. Including me. She can kick my ass for sure.
Single tear going down his cheek.
But yeah, no, that is officially her car. We sold the S13 to fund that car. That car came through a couple good friends, and then ended up in our hands through this long story. And yeah, it was. I don't know that the fab work was halfway done, but it was just a rolling shell when we got it, and then we sold the 13
E92. Sorry.
E92.
What model?
Yes. So it's a 2007 335i, and then we put the M2 front end on it, which. Funny story, I was looking for headlights for the E92, and they were outrageously priced, and I found M2. I happened to have M2 front bumper and hood laying around the body shop, which is the full-time gig, and M2 headlights were half the price of E92 headlights, so I just bought fenders and chopped them up and made it work, but it turned out well. So, yeah, thanks, Paco. There's the wife and I last weekend. So.
Yeah, the car looks insanely good, which is I think it's mostly because I have lustful feelings towards an M2. Like that's my number one car feelings right now, is I really want one of those. So I think it has to do with that for sure. But it's a damn good looking car. Obviously the paint is killer. That's what you do in your 9-to-5 job, and yeah, it looks sweet. You come across cars that are mildly to medium damaged all the time, but I imagine you also kind of have a game on the I don't want to call it the auction block, but like what's the best way for someone to find a chassis to turn into a drift car that may already be damaged or just something cheap? How do people find those things?
Sure, no, that's a great question. Yeah, I myself, I don't have a dealer license or anything like that, but if you make an acquaintance that has a dealer license or get your own dealer license, actually, you don't have to go that far. You can there's public auctions out there too. Copart and AIIA, I believe, Insurance Auto Auctions, other way around. IAAI.
That's like triple A.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
IAA, yeah.
Yeah, IAAI.
E-I-E-I-O.
Those are the two big. Those are the two biggest ones I know of. But they do have public auctions and they have wholesale dealer auctions. But my two biggest recommendations, which is exactly what you're looking at with those two cars, the wife's car was a flood car. Which for a track car, that doesn't matter at all. You're going to junk everything out of it anyways. So that's ideal. If you can get into a flood car, I believe, I can't say this for a fact, but I believe Ryan Turek did similar things with it.
I think most people, I'd be surprised, not surprised. I'm curious to hear how many FD cars, Pro 1 cars, are flood cars. There's got to be a good number at least.
Yep, that's ideal because there's really no damage to the structure or sheet metal. It's literally just all the other components, and you're getting rid of those anyways. So, so the wife's car was a flood car. My car, the FRS, it was in a front end collision. But what was cool about that is by the time I stripped all the components out of it, it had a little quarter-sized dent in the strut panel, or the strut tower, and that was it because I removed everything that it collided with. It did cause a fair amount of damage to the motor and brake system and all that.
All that going out the door anyways.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a great way to get into something like that. That's you can get into a relatively new car or brand new car for almost nothing. I mean, if everything else is junk. So
and I think we always talk about, and it's funny how often this conversation gets updated. We always talk about like the best beginner car for cheap, and it's like I was to say that the FRS there's got to be a lot of FRSs out there that are getting cheaper and halfway junked and all that. But also, I don't know if it's necessarily a good beginner's car. You started on your S13, Chris? Is the FRS more challenging out of the box to drive? I know you started with a highly modified, putting all your S13, not all, but a lot of your S13 parts like the V8 and all that other stuff on it. But is it a more challenging car to learn on? Would you say? Yeah,
I would say it took me more time to grow into that. Well, if you take, my experience and you throw me in an S13 versus an FRS, I think the FRS took a little bit more time to master. Not that I have, but the FRS has more capabilities, but mainly due to WiseFab and some components that are on it. The S13 didn't. It was easier to step into. There's a lot more aftermarket support for it. When I got into the FRS, WiseFab had just came out for the steering components, and there wasn't a whole lot of other support for it. But now that support, I feel, is caught up, and with that support, I feel the FRS is a little bit more capable because it is a little bit longer wheelbase. It looks short and stubby, but it's a little bit longer wheelbase than an S chassis. or the S13 at least. And
Right.
yeah, so I would say FRS requires a little bit more to get it to a competitive point. They're both fairly adaptable, I guess I would say, but S13 is still more highly supported and a little bit easier to get into.
13 and 14.
Probably about the same
And 14.
price though these days.
Yeah, right,
I guess.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, but see, like, but that's the craziest thing, man. Like, you can buy so many cars that are like 15, even 20 years newer than an S13 or S14 for the same price. Especially shells that are perfect. I mean, you just sold a GTO for what, like?
Yeah, I sold that chassis for $1,500.
Yeah, $1,500
That-
for a
that's-
perfect mint GTO shell.
Yeah.
With its independent suspension.
Not a lot of support for that car in the drift world. I know, of course, the LS would have a lot of support, but as far as everything else, probably not much.
No, but look at the
Right.
350Z. It's like the new
Yeah, the Z
240.
is a
and
perfect
it's
example.
Same
Yeah.
pricing. You know, you can take. Would you get the GTO 4 and you can pull the LS out of that and throw it in a 350Z and have a perfectly running car. There's tons of other mods. I mean, if you even get one, even if it's an 03Z that's like $3,000, you can still rip it out there. I mean, oil consumption or whatever you have problems with, you're still going to be able to enjoy that car, you know, with a way newer chassis with plenty of support, you know, just like the S13s and S14s.
But see, like that. But that's the craziest thing, that when it comes to a chassis being newer, like I love.
Hold on, Paco, real quick. Someone
Yeah.
keeps on snorting their nose in the mic, and you have to stop that.
That's me. Sorry.
I thought it was Corey.
Stop it. Stop it.
It's
Sinus issues.
that's fine.
Just do it on Paco's face, not on the mic.
Thank you.
Sorry, continue.
So yeah, like I love the idea of working on a car that, you know, there's not just like pouring dirt and grime over you when you're, you know, like a newer
that's the
chassis and all
fun.
that, you know. Well, yeah, I'm saying, like, you know, like working on
That's
a
not
very,
fun. That's a joke.
Oh.
30-year-old brake dust in your nose is not chill.
yeah. But at the same time, I mean, there's just like a particular flavor or like something about working on these old cars, and they just look good. I mean, Andrew, you have
It's
what,
the
two
nostalgia trip.
13s at your household?
Yeah.
Yeah, two of them.
Yeah, I have my Pro 2 car, and
Yeah.
the wife has her street car, her S13 hatch.
A third one.
And we're about to have a third.
About to have a
hatch.
Oh
baby.
shit! Are you guys having a baby?
Yes, a
Oh.
new addition to the family.
Yeah.
Brian
Maybe S13.
We have a problem. with
Brian
these old cars.
is getting the LS400 all prep for the Drift League. They're going full serious about that. Sam, you have a 14. Josh, you have
Oh,
a
yeah.
13.
I have two 13s.
There you go. I mean,
We all bought in before the gold rush. Or at
If
least
you
I-
have an, I feel like if you ever own a 240, you always have to have multiple 240s for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know what the.
That's so
I-
true.
you guys know what's the craziest thing? Out of all the hundreds of cars I ever owned, I never bought a 240.
Dang, it's
I don't know
Yes,
why.
you did.
Oh, that's not crazy,
No,
Paco.
It's
That
just,
totally
it's
makes
just a
sense.
Z.
Well, that's not an
It's
S
still a
chassis.
240.
No, mine is a 280, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, but no, it's never like I mean, I don't know. Like I would love to, but I just never.
No,
Like,
you wouldn't. It's way too supported and easy for you.
I would love to have an S15. Like that's
Yeah, who
that's
wouldn't
that's the
in
S
this
chassis I
economy?
would love to buy. But you know, like I mean, there's just something about like just different. I don't know, markets, different. How do you say? Different styles, if you may. Like, you know, from building a brand new looking car with like a brand new sandblasted, powder coated chassis where everything looks nice and clean, versus like what a lot of people call a shit box. You know, I mean, Corey's building another S14. Corey,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what are you eating?
He's playing Apex
kidding.
still. You
Cor-
you in that
Corey-
Predator lobby yet or what?
Corey already has an S14. He's building another S14. Are you bringing it to the shop?
Yeah, I need to talk to you about that.
Oh, perfect. Ha ha ha. But you know,
This is actually burning at me right now because we're now an hour and a half-ish into the show. Did we ever mention what date Desert Meihan was?
7th and the 8th of December.
All right. So if you've been holding on with bated breath for the date. That's when it is. Continue your
I
conversation.
don't know. We
but,
had
we're gonna,
the.
also want people to know to prime up your questions. We're going to read some Instagram questions soon. If you have any questions for any of the boys present, send them in the YouTube chat. And of course, Super Chat is welcome if you want to make sure a question gets through. But yeah, send your questions in chat.
Yeah.
But continue.
No, and yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think this is a good opportunity to talk to people who like to build cars. I mean, that one built a car for pro driving, one built a car like a strictly style party. Chris, your car is like a pro car. You have rear radiator, the whole shebang.
Baller wiring.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of went somewhere in between. I wanted something that looked like a pro car with half the horsepower was my whole concept there. So we didn't spend a grip on the motor. It's a basic 400 horsepower setup on both the wife's car and my car, but yeah, it has a lot of components you would see in a pro car, and I'm just fortunate that I own and operate an auto body shop, and I know how to do that trade, that I can do all the body work and paint myself. Otherwise they would be in primer and maybe wrapped at most, but thankfully I know how to do that myself, so that saves a huge cost. But yeah, that was my whole concept, was something that had pro level components, so it was fully functional with half the horsepower, so we can afford to maintain it.
Perfect.
Nice.
I think reliability is the name of the game, even on
Forrest
party
said it
cars.
well,
Yeah.
Forrest said it well, and he reinforced what we've asked. We've asked that question to multiple people, and I just wanted to hear from other drivers. It's like, what's the right level for a party car? And everyone seems to agree that it's 300 to 400 long use tires, the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
You guys want to hit some questions?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Actually,
Yeah. The
Sam?
first Instagram question is very strong. It's from verified power bottom Macho Man Randy Sanchez. That's what it says next to his name. I'm just reading it, man. Don't look at me like that. He says, and everyone has to answer this in their own words: would you rather eat an entire human only once, or a baby alligator that is still alive every day?
Ooh, goddamn it.
Yeah.
when you're talking about eating,
Can you repeat the question again?
when you're talking
Yeah,
about
so from the top, verified power bottom Macho Man Randy Sanchez says, would you rather eat an entire human only once, or a baby alligator that is still alive every day?
Baby alligator.
Every day?
Yep.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Andrew.
You can acquire that taste.
Yeah, but alive.
Yeah,
so you
but,
can't
I
cook
mean-
it. You
Okay.
just gotta fucking...
All right, so
You know,
you get a rhythm down, you figure out how to do it the first couple times, and you just keep doing it. I could never live with myself
You have
if
to
I
do
eat a
it
human.
every day.
Wait, is the human
Every
already dead?
Yeah, so that's part of the deal.
See,
so Macho
you
Man
done messed up
texted me, and he's
already.
like, you
Answer.
can fill in all the blanks for
No,
the human
man.
question.
That's done.
The human...
I still go for the
The
alligator.
human is in a tiny cap. The human is in a tiny powdered capsule that you take once a day for 10 years. He's already been burned up. It's just very painless, and yeah,
right.
it's a cremated human in a powdered capsule.
All right.
For you.
Alligator.
The others,
Alligator.
is not the same.
I've already
well,
eaten
what if-
alligator, so I'd do the human. for
alligator
sure.
tastes like chicken. I had alligator before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
once
it's
again,
good.
cooked.
Well,
Paco,
tail.
cooked.
Yeah, cooked alligator. I don't need my
It's not
alligator
cooked.
raw.
I tried
This
it
is a still
raw.
alive
I was
baby alligator,
child.
Paco. That's part of the question.
Ah, that's right.
So,
Yeah,
Paco, what's your
that's like the
sense?
whole what was it? What's that movie? Waterboy, where she
Waterboy.
bites the head off the little baby alligator. But that
Oh my
was
God.
cooked, though.
That's what I'm talking
You know,
about.
yeah, but that was cooked. Remember, she was kind of psychopath too. Like she was
All right, so
hot,
we've got
but
one for baby alligator. That was the incorrect answer. And then
No, I
and
had human
guess-
for sure.
Well, I guess Chris, let's go to you. Chris Soehren, what's your answer?
Baby alligator sounds dangerous. I'll start with that. So you said the human condition is going to be different for each of us. What's my condition?
Yeah. Well, in your condition, the human, you've got to eat over the course of a week, but you got to choose. Do you start with the butt or the dick? 'Cause it's
Oh
a meat.
my God.
I instantly went to alligator. Fuck.
Okay, alligator.
They
for
say it
Chris,
tastes
that's
like
right.
chicken.
I was all sold on human until that.
Oh,
Now,
I didn't know
now
there was
I'm just gonna
conditions.
deal with alligator. Yeah, I'll
No,
Kill it.
Oh,
you
what?
answered
It's good.
correctly, Chris.
What's my condition?
Thanks for backing me up, Chris.
What's Josh's condition?
Yeah, what's my condition? I don't know this thing.
You're about to find out.
Oh, yeah. What do you want to know?
What's my condition for the human?
For eating human.
Well, I mean, for you, it's a little bit different. So for you, you actually have the option to eat skin only, but you have to eat it all in one day.
Dude, deal.
Sign me up,
That
man.
is like, dude, hold
like
on.
KFC.
If I
Skin's
eat
the
the
best
whole
part.
thing, like in 4 hours, is it free? Because I'm totally down for that.
No one's making you pay to eat a human body, man. I don't know.
I don't know. That's
I know.
kind of. I mean, if you think about this, there has to be an expense to this somehow legally. You know, something has to happen.
Well, I
You
think
get, like,
it's
there's a
six
lot
days
of costs
diarrhea.
involved,
You get
I'm
6 days
sure.
diarrhea.
Original
I think it's
recipe
that's
only,
fine.
not
and
extra crispy.
fresh,
That is
but
fine. I have plenty of baby wipes at home. I will deal with the diarrhea.
That's fair.
Wow.
Paco, what are you gonna go with here?
Well, I mean,
What's his condition though?
yeah?
for
What's
the
my
human?
condition for the human, so I can choose?
Paco, you've had what's the
Gangrenous.
name of the grasshoppers? Your people's
Locust?
Nope, I don't eat crickets.
Chonkless.
No, what do you call them?
Chapulines.
Chapulinas. Yeah, so it's human prepared
Chapulines.
chapulina style.
Ugh.
Which, if you would happily
On a
describe
stick?
I think I'll take the alligator.
Okay, so chapulina style Paco is like dried out and kind of salty.
See, but
or-
you
yeah,
guys,
that's like jerky.
Yeah, I was
you
gonna say
guys
kind
are
of like
missing
jerky.
the point though. It's only like that day. Alligators, you have to eat the entire lifespan.
But here's the thing,
I
what-
already eat live alligators.
But what if
Yeah.
What
See,
if
that's the
you
thing.
need food?
That's what I was gonna say. Andrew,
you never have to
with
go
humans.
grocery shopping? You always have freaking alligator.
So you're, so you're
Never
going
go to
off
the grocery
like
store
the
again.
chicken
You have
nuggets for
alligator
every day kind of
every
thing, right?
day. Yeah.
Yeah. Like my answer is I've already eaten like 4 people, so it's like I don't give a shit. I'll eat one more. I love it. Corey,
Bring on the meat, dude.
which one?
Which one?
Both of them.
The
Very
man
political.
meat.
I'll
Kill
start
it in
with the
both.
butts, the dicks, the tits, the tails, the heads. You name it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I like
Thank
about you. and
God.
that's-
Yeah, I'm not a picky eater when it comes to that stuff.
Corey and I have
Corey,
already
you're
discussed this
invited-
at length, where we would start eating someone from, and it's always the butt of the dick.
You're
Easy.
invited to Thanksgiving and we're having human with gravy.
Are you Hannibal Lecter?
I just want to know who's gonna stuff
Hello,
human.
Clarice.
Who's
Put
gonna
all the
stuff human
giblets inside the booty hole.
with a
Ew.
big apple in the mouth?
All right, this show took a very dark turn.
No,
Okay.
that was fun. That was
Sam's
fun. Thanks, Macho.
Macho Man always with a zinger
Journalism.
questions. Yeah,
What,
professional.
do you guys have some questions you want to read?
Yeah, question from Sir Josh, Joshykins. Sir Joshykins, what's your favorite, JB Weld or zip ties? Andrew,
Zip ties.
zip ties. Josh,
Zip ties.
Chris,
Zip ties, hands
Cor-
down.
Corey.
I don't think I've ever used a JB Weld correctly before.
I
so
try.
zip
Yeah,
ties.
I think I fucked up every time I try to use it, or it just sucks. I'm not sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's 2 parts.
You're not-
Zip tie is 1 part.
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat it.
Yeah.
JB Weld failed me in Vegas once. I had a good friend help me, Austin Ardendo, try to like JB Weld my what was it, the heater core rerouting pipe together.
Why do you have a
Vegas.
heater core on your drift car, Josh?
It was a rerouting.
Bypass.
Thank you, Ben.
There you go.
Bypass.
Thanks, Brian.
Bypass Brian, big bypass Brian coming.
I
in.
like the I did like the
Bypass
rerouting.
the
of it. I was like,
bypass,
the
it failed.
rerouting pipe. The rerouting.
Rerouting. You thought if you say it with more emphasis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Emphasis.
Sam,
Yo,
zip ties or JB Weld?
I already said, like, I tried to use JB Weld a couple times, and I think I just either suck at it or it just sucks. I'm not
That's
sure
right,
which.
because you ate it.
Yeah, we just said this, Paco. Are you getting Alzheimer's? Fuck.
A little bit. I just had a little too many claws, but I have another question from Bad Apple Motorsports. What has been the most rewarding part of creating this incredible event, and what has been a downfall, if there is any?
Oh.
Chris.
That's good. The greatest part, I think I've shared the story before. The greatest part was session 1 of
First
day one, the first event ever. Josh and I were running around with chickens with their heads cut off, just stressing, trying to get everybody in the gate, trying to get everything lined up and set for the first
Can I
session.
stop you there?
Yes.
Running around like baby alligators with their heads chewed off.
Yeah, baby alligators with a freshly chewed off
Thanks
head.
to Andrew.
Just trying to bring it back.
Sorry about
Thank
that.
you. Yes, no, that's
Go
good.
ahead.
So yes, like baby alligators with their head freshly chewing off. But yeah, that was us, Josh and I, and the first session went green. Josh and I were supposed to be in that session, but we were too busy trying to get everything in order. And
Yeah, I didn't even have my car unloaded from the trailer.
yeah, your car was still on the trailer. I had mine out, but that was it. And it
Wait,
was
you guys design these events to also run the events? How do you do that?
that's tricky. We run different set. We run different
multiple copies of themselves.
Yeah, clone machine. Yeah. No, but how we do that actually is Josh and I run separate sessions, so there's always one of us on radio, so we can kind of keep tabs on it.
That's dope, though.
Yeah.
That. Sorry,
But yeah,
continue.
we like to be out there and on track as well, so we make sure we can do that. But that was definitely the biggest moment. Josh and I, we were standing there with I think Nick Dazan from Vegas Drift, and the first session went hot, and it was absolutely insane. It was just smoke clouds everywhere and chaos, and Josh and I looked at each other and gave each other a big hug, and we're scared for our lives because we thought everybody was gonna die that day. It was super intense. It was way more intense than we expected. We had no idea what was gonna happen.
Pure pandemonium.
Yeah, pure pandemonium, but super, super exciting that it actually came to life and it was happening, and scared, but a really great moment. So that was definitely the highlight.
Why was it different than just like the regular monthly events that are, I imagine still great at the similar raceway and setup, but like what made it special beyond the regular events?
Yeah, no, the monthly events are great. It's such a blessing to have those, to be able to stay sharp and to learn, and not even to learn, just to stay sharp and in practice. But what made it crazy was the fact that it's a small, tight track, really tight quarters, and it was a hot lapping event to where we ran 15 minutes straight for each session, and it was just nonstop chaos for 15 minutes. Like, it's just normally, at local events or a lot of events, you'll run a run and you'll sit in line for just a little bit and you'll jump back out there. But this was just nonstop pandemonium, and it was scary to watch every time cars came around, and it was just nonstop. So one after another, it was crazy to see.
I didn't realize you guys hot lap. That alone will make it crazy.
Yep, exactly. So I'd say that was probably the big positive moment. The drawback of this is a whole lot of extracurricular activity and work and stress leading up to these events to make sure they go off. Not necessarily without a hitch. We don't really plan on it to be perfect. There's always going to be something, but a lot of planning on Josh and I's part, and a lot of following up and making sure that everything shows up the day before the event. So that's the big. That's the other side.
Are you at least breaking even on these, hopefully?
Yeah. I think this will be the first year that we don't actually have to fund it out of our own pocket.
Yeah, everything has always been like,
I don't know, close.
Yeah, we've always just try to put on a good event, and we just fund it, throw it on, and then whatever comes back. But the more that we try and make it bigger, the bigger that we try to make it, the more it helps us fund a bigger and better event next year, the next years, and the following years. So it's really a try and get everything situated correctly so that we can get enough spectators in, so that we make it bigger for the next year and everything.
Yeah.
And the drivers come first, big time. So it's
I think it's very important to point out that you guys are putting this event together for the drivers, not necessarily for the fans or for the people that's coming to watch, but the people who's coming to watch also get a good show. So the idea of the track society, your slogan is by drivers for drivers.
correct.
Right? So I think the first year you ended up like barely breaking even, and you were just fine about it. Like this is not a business, you know. The Track Society, it's literally drift drivers wanting to make events for other drift drivers the way you guys want it, the way to just like hang out, have fun. But it grew up in a way of like maybe not necessarily out of your control, but it grew up in a way that like now you have what 6-7 pro drivers coming, and I've heard like there's a couple drivers that are going to crash the party. By the way, a couple pro drivers they say like, oh yeah, we'll be there, we're gonna crash that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this
that
never.
event, so.
Yeah, this never started out as a business. The only thing we had to actually make this an LLC is to have the insurance for it. You know, like it was never actually a business. So, you know, the only reason we have it as the name of having the Track Society more than just like, hey, let's just have drivers out there for having drivers out there is because of the fact that we actually had to have insurance for this thing. So that's the whole main reason behind the whole business aspect of it. But other than that, yeah, it's just.
And if I'm not mistaken, the first Desert Meihan was just one day.
Correct.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
like,
it was a huge feeler.
next day, next year immediately was all right. We have to do 2 days.
This was never meant to be as huge as it was. It was just like, hey, you know what? We want to drive something. Let's have fun. Let's go see what renting a track would be and whatnot. And Chris and I got together, and George Marstanovich was a huge help to us in planning this whole like getting a track laid out on to the actual skid pad. And we kind of just like we're like, well, let's get our friends together. Let's go drift. Let's have fun. You know, like I appreciate and always have been because I started with the you know, like I was a huge supporter of AZ 350 Drift or AZ Drift back in the day with AZ 350Z. A good friend that started that, no longer with us, but then Trial by Fire was around and everything else, and then Go Fast is now carrying on this awesome event every, you know,
Monthly, pretty much.
every month, and doing these great events, and it's awesome. You know, but we just kind of thought like, hey, let's do something a little different. Let's just do something on the side for us friends. Let's see if we can fund this ourselves. You know, let's just try and figure it out. And we started talking to our friends about joining us, coming with us, and then it, you know, everybody talks to everybody else, and then it's like, hey, I want to be a part of this. Hey, I want to be a part of this. And then we're like, all right, what does it take to actually have everybody at our, you know, thing? And how many people can we have on track?
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, well, now where is a venue that we can actually put this on?
Yeah.
So we did. And then, you know, the first thing that they say is, hey, you guys need insurance. You know, let's follow the rules. So we do that.
Like,
put that on. Yeah, exactly right.
wait. Did you guys get insurance for this, or?
I'm pretty sure we need insurance. No, we're gonna just.
Which, by the way,
we're just gonna fudge it the
you
whole
guys
time.
you guys are running this event at the Bondurant
Correct.
track.
Correct.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So the Bondurant facility actually hosts us.
yeah.
You know. So but we actually rent the facility from them.
I want to take the opportunity to kind of like tag something that's hot right now. Everybody knows about the Ford versus Ferrari movie that's out right now. It's big historical, almost documentary, docu whatever movie. And Bondurant was a big part. Bob Bondurant was a big part of the the whole story.
The movement,
that took Ford over to win Ferrari on Le Mans and all that. Corey used to work at Bondurant. Dude, I think you spent like 10 years, 12 years there.
Well, it clogged the toilet and then it shut down.
Yeah, I ended up laying a logger, dude, the size of Shanghai, and ended up shutting the place down for 3 weeks.
So this
it actually caused an employee walkout, is what it caused, unfortunately.
That's
sad.
showbiz.
This is also
It's on the
Showbiz, baby.
Wikipedia.
Showbiz, baby.
this is also like a cool, up to some point, historical place to be. You know, that has a lot of racing background. You can go there and like learn how to drive and all kinds of like I think they have like almost like getaway driver, like what's it called, like bodyguard driving, training, and all that stuff. Racing.
Corey and I drifted all the cars with Matt Powers already. You can check that out in Driftbusters.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched Driftbusters from
We called-
6 years ago.
We called Taylor Swift as well. She's part of the video. So
Conrad Grunwald called up. We grabbed lunch.
Yeah.
grab lunch. That was
Science.
nice.
Corey and Forsberg went on a tandem bike.
Yeah, this track's full of history. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
There's
content
even
was king.
there's
back
even
I blew up my motor, ended my drift.
You,
car
we
there.
did a Drift Dated episode where the Bugatti showed up. You remember that, Sam?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
the Bugatti came, that was cool. I also hit you. No,
Dude,
I spun and you hit me. I don't
You,
remember.
me, yep.
there's
amazing
even
times, dude.
there's even footage of Ayrton Senna practicing around I think it's West Track. There's footage of, if you go on YouTube right now, you can Google Ayrton Senna.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you
That's
can.
cool.
Yeah, he's driving his F1 car because there was at some point there was an F1 race through the city of Phoenix. It was like a street
Yeah.
course, and Ayrton Senna was practicing right there, the same place that we all go and drive.
It's cool to know that the best driver of all time shredded the same track where I like tried to initiate at a corner at like 80 miles an hour, pulling my e-brake too late and just flying into the dirt at like
Yeah,
80 miles an hour and just getting a wall of dust covering my car and then being able installing it, having to be pulled out, blew off both bumpers.
yeah.
And the best driver ever also drove that course.
But then also you made a YouTube video series that literally is what put you where you are right now.
Look where I am.
Yeah.
Got all this.
All of this is yours.
You can have this. All right. I think that we've blown out the Meihan very thoroughly. Once again, one more time, final info. What dates? How do people buy tickets? Where is it at? Hit us.
Thanks, Sam. So December 7th and 8th at the Bondurant Racing School, which is in Chandler, Arizona.
It's
goes,
Phoenix-ish.
Yeah, sorry.
For those that are not
Phoenix-ish.
from the area.
Yeah, Phoenix-ish. Yeah, let's see. Saturday, we're going to go, I believe, hot track from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday will be 8 a.m. to 4
We're
p.m.
camping at the track.
Yes, Saturday night we're going to have barbecue, camping, hangout, party, music, all that stuff.
Hang out in Paco's dolphin party.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a fucking
The
goat.
best dolphin impression.
No.
That was a squeaky door.
But it's, it's like a creepy
tickets.
creepy horror door. Yeah, as far as tickets, all we do is just an online registration for drivers, which is already done and closed. And then
Only 50 drivers.
Only 50 drivers, capped
That's
at
it.
50 drivers plus our guests. And as far as tickets, as far as spectators, you'll just have to get tickets at the gate. We just do it that way to keep it simple. So.
Yep, makes sense, man. Well, thank you much, guys, for coming on the show, and big thank you to our sponsors, Grid Life. Of course, we love you guys. New season of Grid Life being planned right now.
Yep.
AM intakes up. Link ECU. Thanks for the ECUs for Corey and Paco.
Yeah.
I don't have an ECU that I could use a car I could use an ECU in, but I still want one just to have
Yeah.
for my
You gotta
shelf.
have it.
I think that's the thing they use the CIA torture stuff with? They hook up an ECU to people's nipples and shock them. Is that true?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I've
Yeah, that's
tested
what
that out
that's
myself.
correct.
Yeah, it's
I-
wonderful.
I do want that then. Thank you guys. I want to thank Corey Hosford. He got 3 dubs in Apex
We also want to
Legends.
thank Chair Slayer and the whole crew back at the Chair Slayer Lounge because they're watching live on Twitch right now.
Oh,
so
shit,
shout out
dude.
to those guys.
Oh, shit, dude. What's up, guys?
Shout out to those guys.
Wait, hold
to
on.
mention that Grid
Hold
Life-
on.
you.
Corey, are you live on Twitch?
Rob, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But Chair Slayer is, and the whole squad back there is watching right now. I love these dudes. You gotta get
Okay.
back to them.
Grid Life game night. It was an adorable moment where Corey sat on Rob's lap, and Corey.
No, the other-
No, Rob sat on your lap. Corey was doing pedals. Rob was doing steering. It was a beautiful moment.
It was one of my favorite moments of the whole SEMA right there, dude.
It
We
was
almost
great.
fucking destroyed. We finished like 6th, dude.
Yeah. How many rips did he do in your lap? I hear that guy's a tutor.
What's that?
How many times did he tear buns on you?
Oh, 4 times. Jeez, I
Yeah.
felt the dude. It's like
Felt the
rumble in
warmth.
bronze,
Just warm.
dude.
No, I bet it's just warm.
Dude, dude, he was fucking hog blasting the whole time he was sitting on my lap.
Hog blasted.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys, for listening.
before we
Thank you,
go,
fans.
Sam,
Thank you, Patreons.
yeah,
no,
the
Paco, I'm leaving
Patreons.
right now. Bye, Paco. Just kidding. What's up?
Yeah, no, I mean, so before we get the Patreons, we're gonna thank the Patreons, but to next episode we're gonna do the giveaway for
Oh, shit,
the Grip Royal Maximum Driftcast steering wheel.
Which I think we're going to try to do one next week, but it's also Thanksgiving week, so it might not happen because almost everyone's going to be with their family and shit. But we'll try. Otherwise, we'll do one the week
I would say
after.
next episode, probably it's going to be the episode with dads.
Wheel away.
Yeah, we could do it with the daddies.
It's going to be episode
By the
with
way,
dads.
one other thing, Josh and Chris, Rob is in Utah. He'd be another great addition to the Meihan. I know he tried making out the first one, but he's got a badass car now ready to rip. Just saying.
He wasn't invited?
He was a guest in the first Meihan, but he couldn't make it last minute.
He was sick.
Yeah. He ended up getting sick. Rob, if you're listening, which I think you are,
Oh, he's watching. I'm looking at him right now, sir. You dead in the eyes, Chris.
Hi, Rob. So yes, this is your formal invite. You are more than welcome to come out. We'd love to have you.
There's no farting.
There's no farting the entire event.
Yeah, there's no farting. Yeah.
Well, so if you are
check
a page,
out that Grip Royal custom wheel giveaway. It's a sick ass
If you
wheel.
are-
We'll be doing that
if you're
next
a-
show-ish to our Patreons only. So make
Yeah.
sure to become a Patreon. If you're not one, you want to win that wheel, become one anyways. Because if you listen to 2 hours of this nonsense and you don't give us a fucking dollar, like you should not. I don't know what to tell you. Give us $1. Trying to do this for free.
yeah, so $1 gives you 1 ticket to the giveaway. $2 gives you 2 tickets. $5 gives you 5 tickets. So
And again,
it's simple.
$500,000 if you want to do top tier Patreon. You'll probably win the wheel. 1, 2. Corey will let you eat him or a baby alligator. Up to you.
Yeah, you have to choose.
You choose. That's a good Patreon
Yeah.
goal.
So
All right.
thanks, Grip Royal. And Chris, anything you want to add before we leave?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything very well. Thank you
Check
so
out-
much for having
Check
us
out
on.
Chris. No, hold on. Check out
Yeah.
Chris at Elite
Hey.
or EA Finishes. EA Finishes at Instagram. Right?
At EA Finishes and at Chris Soehren.
Correct.
Yeah.
If you want to
And,
see more of the wife's car, it's at Death Bunny Drift. The Track Society is
At
just
the Track
at the
Society.
Track Society. More info on the event. You can stay plugged into what's going on leading up to that on our Facebook page and Instagram, of course.
Josh, where can people find you?
At DONN_RUIZ, Don Ruiz.
Don Ruiz.
That's right.
Yeah, also at the Track Society
At the
because
Track
you're also part of
Society,
that.
Of course.
So thanks for being here, Andrew.
you.
That would be at Schulte_216.
What do you guys have such weird last names, all of you?
Yeah.
It's
Mine has
SCH because it's
4
German.
letters.
Well, you're fine actually, but
Yeah, that Josh is
between
easy.
Soehren and Schulte,
Yeah,
like
it's rough.
I'm lost.
It's
So
this S stuff. The sh
S
SCHULTE.
Schulte
German
underscore
216 underscore 216. That's the Cleveland area code, my hometown.
Ah, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that your competition number as well?
Yes, yep.
Nice,
I was
okay.
216 in FD Pro
Perfect.
2 this year.
All right, so you guys want to follow these gentlemen right here? Make sure to go on the Instagrams and follow them. Corey,
Yeah.
You can find Corey.
Dude,
hashtag,
You can find him at a hot dog stand.
Fullsmoker.net.
Yeah, his at
Smoker.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas verified official.
You know what's
is,
funny? It's like I'm
pretty
sitting
fun
here
thing.
and I'm the middleman, dude. I've officially promoted myself to the middleman because I'm listening to Raldo and Chair Slayer right now on Twitch as they're telling me to tell messages to you guys.
Yeah,
and one of
yeah.
the messages is that they were very upset that they weren't able or getting the invite to head out to the Veterans Day thing. They would love to do that. So the next one that comes up, please shoot them an invite because they'd be
They're very
one
upset?
happy. They're
They got
upset
beef?
that I think they're starting beef, but it's okay because they wanted to give some veterans right along. So Rob said, please consider him for any opportunity out there because they're down, especially the whole crew back at the Chair Slayer shop. So
Awesome.
that
Well,
was one of the message. And they ask, and Rob did confirm he will eat alligator over human penis.
And did he say if he start with the alligator penis or the alligator butt?
Alligator.
But what if the
Alligator
human's
penis.
penis was like
Well, I guess
caramelized?
if we could do a Twitch rehost right now, we could rehost you guys over to go raid them and ask Rob, excuse me, ask Rob about alligator penis or butt first, and then yeah, let's check that out if you guys can. And we will see you next week or the week after. We